Alright, this was unexpected, but name-wise maybe kind of expect, but the theming-wise I was not expecting. And yes, what you see right there is a new access code talker that is also at Ignister, because we got more support for at Ignister, but this time in probably a what-if scenario if Playmaker decides to join Ai, with the more at Ignister theme playing with darks, since Ai is a dark Ignis. But anyway, let's begin. So first up we started with Wizard at Ignister, which is of course a at Ignister version of Cyberse Wizard. Level 4 Dark Cyberse with 1800 attack, 800 defense. Each effect is hard once per turn, which the first one is that if you control a Cyberse monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can target one Dark Cyberse monster in your graveyard, special summon both this card from your hand along with that monster in defense, but you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Cyberse. Obvious extended play is pretty obvious. Here's what I mean about more focus on the Dark Cyberse. Yes, Ai does play more Dark at Ignister monsters than the rest of the other attributes, but here's the more focus on the dark attribute method here. But now to the second effect, where you can banish this card from your field or graveyard to target one card your opponent controls and change it to defense. Not too bad, but you mainly use it for the first effect because that one is where you can extend your plays. The second effect is there just a bonus, although now you got another foolish burial target, so it's not entirely too bad. And then we go to backup at Ignister, which is of course backup security. It's a level 3 Dark Cyberse tuner with 1200 attack, 800 defense, and each effect is hard once per turn. The first one being if you control a special summon monster from the extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand, which of course you're going to do, and this is just another way to extend your plays, and once again another Ignister that can special summon itself just so you can do your combo plays. But the second effect is that if this card is no more special summon, even triggered from the first one, you can add one Dark Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand except itself, then discard one card. That discard doesn't really matter because you're just setting up the graveyard here, but once again just more extended plays. And because you're having more special summon monsters, high chances that you can actually make even more big extra deck plays. So once again, another good new addition. And now to a new Link Kuribo that isn't a Link monster, surprisingly. Kurikurink at Ignister, which is a level 1 Dark Cyberse with 300 attack, 200 defense, and each effect is hard once per turn, which the first one is a quick effect where you can tribute one at Ignister monster and special summon this card from your hand or graveyard but banish it when it leaves the field. This is of course doing the Kuribo thing where it basically protects you for one thing, where the second effect is when a card or effect is activated, the target cyber monster you control, and you control a Cyberse monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, quick effect, you contribute this card to negate that effect. Very helpful for some one-time protection here, and just another target that can go to the graveyard, and also being a level 1 Cyberse, which can actually be helpful for certain things. But I probably wouldn't run too many copies of these, so probably one or two of. And now to a new Firewall Dragon. Firewall Saber Dragon. No at Ignister in name, but it is at Ignister support. It's a level 7 Dark Cyberse Synchro with 2300 attack, 2000 defense. Kinda wish it has 2500 just so it fits the level 7 theme of Firewall Dragons, but I get why it's 2300 because that's at Ignister boss monsters. Anyway, it's generic summoning condition and each effect is a hard once per turn. So the first one is that this card synchro summon, you can target one Cyberse monster in the graveyard or banishment and add it to your hand, which is of course very helpful. In which the second effect is that you can target one other Cyberse monster you control that has a level, and this card's level becomes of that monster. This could be helpful for certain scenarios, but in many cases it's just going to be for another rank 4 play because that's really all you have right now when it comes to Cyberse Exceed monsters if you're going to go for that. But you can also maybe do a synchro play in some cases. It just depends on scenario here. And finally, the third effect is this card sent to the graveyard as link material. You can add one Ai Pun card from your deck to your hand, aka use this as material for link 3s or even for your ultimate boss monster, the rival Cyberse, or in this case, spoiler alert, your new cover card boss monster. But overall, it's a cool new support engine. Too bad it doesn't have at Ignister in name, but luckily since most of the at Ignister support cards have the Cyberse restriction rather than at Ignister, it might not be too hurtful, but I still kind of wish that there was at Ignister in name. And that goes for the next one as well, Code Igniter, which is a rank 4 Dark Cyberse Exceed monster with 2300 attack, 2000 defense, requires 2 level 4 monsters, and each effect is hard once per turn. So if this card's Exceed summon, you can add one Cyberse ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Too bad it doesn't add the ritual spell as well until you look at the second effect where you can detach one material from this card to ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand by treating monster from your hand and or field whose totals level or equal or exceeds its level, aka the Leviathan at Ignister. So basically it lets you ritual summon without the ritual spell, which is actually pretty nice. And the third effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can add one Ai Pun card that is trapped from your deck to your hand. So once again, another card that just sets you up for another summoning method, and funny enough, it could actually set you up for Dark Flute as well if you want to go for that. Which is probably the intention here because a lot of Dark Cyberse theme here with Agnisters. And now to the new Ultimate Agnister at Code Talker at Agnister. Design wise, definitely Axis Code Talker vibes here, probably more Agnister version. But anyway, it's a Link 5 Dark Cyberse Link monster with 2300 attack, left, bottom, bottom, right, requires at least 3 effect monsters, and its effect is that if this card's Link Summon, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, and then you special summon as many Cyberse monsters with 2300 attack from your graveyard as possible to zones that this card points to. And if you do, this card gets 500 attack for each. So if you summon this alone to the extra monster zone, you can summon 3, but if you put it at the main monster zone, you can probably summon 2. So it's going to be 1000 attack point buff or 1500 depending on where you summon it. So that itself is already pretty strong considering that you could just mass summon a whole entire board with 2300 monsters with their effects still active, mind you, in which you have the whole entire boss monster lineup of Agnisters along with the Code Talkers. In which the second effect is a hard once per turn when your opponent activates a card or effect. Quick effect, you can tribute 1 Link monster this card points to and negate that activation. And if you do, banish that card. So a mass summon on your whole board and also possibly 3 negates. Too bad that this effect seems to be more Code Talker related than anything, because your Code Talkers actually have the right arrows to point through everything, while also being Link monsters. But still overall pretty nice. But still kind of weird that we skipped Link 4 and kind of wish that we got a Firewall Dragon of Agnister, and I mean a Link 4 version. And now to the new spell, Tsunagari Eyes, or Tyus if it's translated like that. It's a normal spell and you can only activate one of these per turn. Reveal a Cyberse monster from your hand and activate the effect of this card depending on the attribute. So if it's dark, special summon the revealed monster, and if you do, add 1 non-dark level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. Or if it's the non-dark revealed, shuffle the revealed monster in the deck. If you do, add 1 Agnister monster with a different attribute from your deck to your hand. Yeah, this is actually really good already just for the fact that you could just search. It's just too bad that you need another monster in hand ready before you activate this, but a search card is a search card. And finally, Aibo. Hopefully they don't butcher the translation here because it means partners and it might be spelled as partners. But anyway, it's a normal trap and each effect is a hard once per turn and you can only activate one of the effects in the same turn. So the first effect is that target face-up cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Cyberse monster with 2300 original attack. Negate their effects until the end of the turn. That is actually pretty powerful right there considering the amount of 2300 attack monsters you have. With the second effect is that you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Cyberse monster and special summon it. So it's kind of like the Recoded Alive. And I do like the artwork here because that kind of references that a bit. I with Code Talker, which eventually becomes Dark Templar or Dark Knight at Agnister. But overall, nice new trap. I just mainly like to use this for the mass negate, honestly. So that's it for the new Agnister support. What do you guys think of it? Overall, I'm just happy to see more Agnister support. I almost thought that Reigns was gonna be left behind here, but I'm glad to see that Reigns are still getting love here, especially since I play Agnisters. Now, I still feel like we should get a Link 4 at Agnister as a main boss monster before we go to Link 5. So I just find that weird that we got a new Link 5 and still no Link 4. But we also got a new Synchro and Exceed that can kind of count as Agnister. But funny that we don't have a new Fusion and Ritual. Unless if you count the stuff that we got from Cyber Storm Axis where Playmaker got a new Fusion and Ritual without a new Synchro and Exceed. And speaking of Playmaker, I found this at Agnister take pretty interesting because it's probably the bad ending scenario where Playmaker and I kind of join together, hence the more focus on Dark with Agnisters. And the Code Talker design being very similar more to Code Talker as well. So I did find this as an interesting choice here, and I like it. But in that's it for this, and see you all next time.